Hi, I'm Amy from Doodle Dog Designs, and today I'm going to show you how to make this farmhouse style wreath. Let's get started. My wreath is an older one that I'm making over, so I'm going to add a spray sealer to it, and that brings the color in the grapevine out and gives it a nicer, darker, fuller color. I want to make the flowers out of different fabrics so it adds some variety to the wreath. I'm going to use some muslin and some Alstenberg and some painter's drop cloth. To make the flowers, I cut strips of fabric. The longer the strip is, the bigger around the flower will end up being, and the wider the strip, the taller the flower is going to be. I cut mine anywhere between 1.5 and 2.5 inches wide, and the wider ones I folded in half, and that will create a nice finished look on the top of the flower. And then the narrower ones I left unfolded, and I will unravel the edge later. So to start, on the folded ones, sew a running gathering stitch along the raw edge side and along one of the long sides of the unfolded one. I used a dark color thread so you could see what I'd done better. You would want to use a thread to match your fabric. And as you can see, I did it here on the raw edge side of the folded over one and just along one side of the unfolded. I'm going to use a pin and pull out the threads on the unsewn side of the strip here, and you can pull out as many or as few as you want. The more you pull out, the more of a ravelly look your flower will end up having. This is a pretty easy way to make flowers. You could also use these flowers in lots of different ways. You could make a pin to add to your coat or add them to a purse. When you're making flowers out of the muslin, it will also unravel, but it's a much tighter weave and a much smaller string, so it will take quite a bit longer to get a nice section unraveled. You could also cut your strip and run it through the washing machine, and that will help unravel some of the threads. Once you get it unraveled as far as you want, you're going to gather the strip, and you would do the same process for the folded or the unfolded from here on out. Just lightly gather. You don't want it to be too tight of a gather. And then you're going to start rolling the strip, and as you roll, use a needle and thread to sew back and forth every once in a while around. And you could do this in two ways. You can make the flower stand up a lot by just rolling in a coil, and that will make a nice flower that stands up. If you want your flower to be a little bit more flat, you can roll it from the bottom, stand out more, and then sew it that way. You can see how I'm laying the coil flatter as opposed to tighter. I like to make some of each type of flower for the wreath. That way the flowers don't all look the same, and it adds some variety and interest to the finished wreath. done several different styles of flowers. This one here I did a folded over middle, and then the edge is unfolded, so it created a different look to have the two types in the same flower. And it is made out of drop cloth, and this one is made out of muslin, and it also has folded over on the outside and then unfolded on the middle. This one is made of the Ossenberg, and it is all unfolded. This one is a drop cloth and it's all folded, but I pulled a little bit of the middle out and unfolded it just to give it some interest there. And then this one is a different Ossenberg, and it is all unfolded. And this one is the drop cloth again, and it's unfolded. To affix the flowers, I'm just going to use hot glue. I'll put hot glue all over the bottom of the flower, and then nestle it in where I want it. This one, I'm putting it under some of the grapevine twigs here. I'll use some burlap fabric, cut a few leaves of different shapes, and I'm going to unravel just a little bit on the edges, and then I'm going to slide a leaf in a few different places, and then I'll hot glue that in. I'm going to use 3 leaves. I'm just going to place a little bit of hot glue on the tip of the leaf and then place it down in where I want it to be. For the ribbon, I've taken a strip of burlap ribbon and I tied it around the wreath, and then I have a strip of Ossenberg that's been unraveled a little bit on the long edges. It's just a little bit narrower than the burlap ribbon. I'm going to tie it. I'm going to unravel the ends a little bit. And then I'm going to tie the burlap again another time to cover that first knot. And then I'm going to bring the Ossenberg over around to the top here. And it is a little bit shorter than the burlap. And I want to affix it here so it will stay. So I'm going to use some hot glue and just put a little bit of hot glue right here on the edge, and then press that down where I want it to be. And then do the same thing on this other side. Looks like I could use a little bit of glue right here in the middle. Thanks for watching. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe below. I'll see you next time. Bye.